Shumai guys, and welcome back to the Life to the Full podcast, the podcast that helps you make the most of your time here on Earth. I'm your host, Dav Morse, and it is once again a pleasure to be back on the microphone. After going rogue last time with the episode, Your Emergency Fund is not for emergencies, because I couldn't not share it with you. I couldn't wait until I'd finished the physical health season because I thought it's just too important for you to know the real reason to have an emergency fund so that you can enjoy the freedom that comes with that. But now we can resume looking at our physical health as part of our 5 pillars of health here on the Life to the Full podcast. Financial health, physical health, relational health, mental health, and spiritual health. In this season, we've looked at lifting weights. We've looked at sleep. We've looked at breathing. What a simple act that can have such a profound effect on our health and well-being. So I want to turn our attention now, today, to nutrition. What is good nutrition? Why is it so important? And most importantly, how can we do it when we really don't feel like it and we'd rather smash a pasty chaser followed by a pizza and a tub of Ben & Jerry's? Is that still the cool ice cream of the day? Certainly was the ice cream to go to when I was at university. That was a long time ago. I've said it before, there is so much of life that is outside our control. Where we were born, who our parents are, their values, the things that we endured as children. But we do have control over what we put in our bodies now. It may well be the case that society is out to get us, and for some people, their circumstances make it so much more difficult to afford good food or to have the time to make good food. But ultimately, we have responsibility for what we put in our bodies. I respect people who want to say we need societal change, and they say they have almost no time for personal responsibility. We certainly do need to see societal change. I'd love to see the government giving tax incentives to food companies who make food in the 4 categories I'll get to later, but I don't see it as a helpful way to see the world. Seeing yourself as a victim in a society and waiting for society to change is not a path I would encourage people down. We all have our advantages and disadvantages in life. We have a responsibility to ourselves to make the most of the cards we have. Ultimately, we all want to make the most of the genetics we were born with and to do the best we can with what we've got. Giving the body the right nutrients for physical health, brain health, is vastly more important than just focusing on our financial health. If we create a balanced diet which hits all of the macro and micronutrients we need, and we can do it consistently for a long time, preferably forever or until science shows us a better way of doing things, then our lives are going to be vastly better than if we keep filling our body with junk that slows us down and makes us stupider. The compounding effect of a nutrient-rich diet is the same as a compounding effect of investing. We will increasingly see the massive benefits the further we make our way through lives into the future. The compounding effect of a poor diet is the same as the compounding effect of a lifestyle of debt and interest payments. Things will continue to degenerate and go from worse to worse. I'm observing the world around me at the moment and increasingly realizing there is some stuff that's said by governments or in the media because most of the population don't do the sensible thing that will make their lives better in the long run. If people were financially responsible, we wouldn't need to say, save 10% of your income and invest for retirement. It would be the norm. We wouldn't need to say, eat 5 fruit or veg per day. The reason that we say these things is that it's good for the general population to be aiming for some of these things. The more I listen to people, the more I have sympathy as well for people's individual circumstances and how difficult it can be sometimes, especially at the lower end of the socio-economic scale. To get the basics right, things aren't complicated. General advice on investing, like invest most of your money into a broad market index fund. General advice for physical health, sleep well and eat a variety of healthy foods. General relationship advice like ask questions, listen, maybe buy some flowers. These things aren't difficult, but if you're already doing these things, how can you take things to the next level? How can you take the next steps in ensuring that you are personally making the most of your time here on Earth and not just following the same advice that everybody hears? That's why I love coaching people one-on-one or in small groups, because it's all very well and good giving general advice, but the real progress comes when you're able to get tailored advice just for you. That means you can make more progress quicker. As I've already said, most of what good nutrition is common sense to most of us. When I was studying nutrition, the diploma could be summarized in one sentence: eat the rainbow. Not taste the rainbow, which is the slogan for something you may not want to have on your menu if you're optimizing for health. Make sure that you eat a variety of foods, different colors, textures, types, and if you do that, you'll get 80% of the benefits from 20% of the effort. My favorite kind of win. I learned a lot of cool stuff whilst studying nutrition, so I'll summarize a few of those things for your interest, some of which you'll know, no doubt, and some of which you may not. There are a few essential nutrients for life: fats, proteins, carbohydrates, water, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. I haven't got time to go into each of these in great detail. I'm sure you could fill an entire podcast episode with the benefits of selenium and how you should combine selenium with other antioxidant vitamins like vitamin E and C for maximum absorption. But that's not what I'm optimizing for today. There are so many micronutrients and so many different foods that contain them, then it would seem obvious. Then the more variety there is in your diet, the better. A massive limiting factor for most of us here is the foods available at the supermarket. If the only food we eat is sourced from a handful of places, then we miss out on the potential array of nutrients from other sources. Two things I'm convinced we should do more of is growing some of our own food and foraging for some of our own food. Why? It would seem that scientific research is backing up claims that our food is less nutritious than it was 70 years ago. As food is grown more for yield, it loses some of its nutritional value. Big food producers have optimized to grow the most amount of stuff rather than the most nutritious stuff. If we grow or forage some of our own food, then we start to fight back and get some more nutrients into our bodies. And we can also get far superior range of foods. If I compare the nutritional value of some lava seaweed or sea buckthorn berries that I've foraged compared to the spinach or oranges I get from the supermarket, I'm willing to make some hefty bets on which one is more nutritious. That doesn't even begin to include the incredible sense of satisfaction that comes from providing for yourself. I could probably do a whole podcast episode on eating seaweed that we forage ourselves. It reminds me of when I was on Radio Cymru talking about that very subject. Just last weekend, I decided to take my wife and two beautiful daughters to the beach to cook lunch on the beach. I should also say, actually, that my wife is also beautiful, not just my daughters. Anyway, I went to the beach with the purpose of cooking some bread rolls and bacon on the beach, smell the sea air mingling with the smell of bacon, and enjoy lunch together, the stuff of dreams. And the other purpose was to pick enough lava to make lava bread to last me for a few months. The cost of this wonderful food, £0. That's the lava bread. A few minutes of mindfully wandering the beach and looking for some good lava spots. The sense of freedom and independence that comes from foraging for your own food is more valuable than the money that I might save. As it turns out, there were no good spots over at the beach that I went to for lava. So, I guess I'll have to spend another Saturday wandering the beaches of South Wales, family in tow, and maybe I'll throw in some lunch on the beach again. The great thing about foraging is you don't have to know it all. You can just learn a few edibles that grow close to you, and I guarantee there will be plenty. Pick them when you're out and about doing your daily comings and goings. Get a book and start learning what nature is providing right at your doorstep. It's a lifelong pursuit, guaranteed to bring texture to your life, beyond the financial saving and the added nutritional value. Supermarkets are efficient for optimizing for profit. You don't have to be the same. You may want to be, but you don't have to be. Your body is an incredibly designed machine and can do a lot of stuff by itself. It can create some of the polypeptides, which are amino acid chains that we call proteins, it needs, but can't make them all. 9 of the 20 amino acids are called essential amino acids because the body doesn't produce them. We need to get them from food for us not to be deficient. We need fat in order to carry fat-soluble vitamins A, K, E, and D, and antioxidants. And fat protects the organs, insulates the body, and provides a reserve of energy. Here's a fun fact for you. Vitamin C is water-soluble, so your body can't store it. So that's why you need vitamin C on a daily basis. Vitamin C isn't just for preventing colds. It also plays a role in turning dopamine into noradrenaline, another neurotransmitter. Eating well not only looks after your physical health, but it also looks after your mental health and neurological difficulties. Your brain is an absolute powerhouse, so it's no wonder that it has incredibly diverse nutritional needs. Not giving the brain the things that it needs has been linked with depression. The data seems pretty clear to me that diet has a massive effect on things like ADHD and Alzheimer's. So eating well is going to affect our lives in a positive way far more than just not being overweight or being able to move well. So when it comes to what we eat, there's more to it than just satisfying our taste buds. Think about those delicious animal proteins like roast fowl, hams, fish. They're packed with all the amino acids our bodies need, including the ones that our bodies can't make on their own. Take tyrosine and tryptophan, for example. These are amino acids you can find in those tasty proteins. Tyrosine helps create dopamine, which is like your brain's feel-good neurotransmitter, responsible for pleasure and reward. Tryptophan, well, it's your mood manager, as it's used to make serotonin. You know those little green powerhouses, Brussels sprouts? They've got folate, a B vitamin your brain absolutely adores. Folate's like the brain's secret weapon, making sure everything runs smoothly. So next time you're enjoying a good meal, remember that what you eat can have a real impact on how you feel. It's like a delicious way to nourish your body and mind all at once. In general then, what should we eat? Eat unprocessed foods, or at least not ultra-processed foods. There's a couple of books that have recently taken my fancy when it comes to nutrition. One is Dr. Chris Van Tuleken's book, Ultra-Processed People, very clever. And the other is a fantastic book called Deep Nutrition, Why Your Genes Need Traditional Food, by Dr. Catherine Shanahan. From Dr. Chris, I got what to avoid, and from Dr. Kate, I got what to eat. If we care at all about our health, on our ability to function and perform physically and cognitively, then the foods to avoid are ultra-processed foods. What are they, you might ask? Well, food that you eat in its natural form, like apples, strawberries, spinach, bananas, walnuts, you get the picture, are, as long as they haven't been sprayed with anything untoward, which is easier when you grow things yourself, are unprocessed. Other things we would consider fairly natural, like milk, flour, naked bars, yogurt, cheese, have all been processed to some extent. Milk that we buy here in the UK is heat-treated before hitting the shelves. Flour obviously comes from wheat, which is what we use to make sourdough bread, and in that sense, it has been processed. But it hasn't been ultra-processed. Ultra-processed food is things with an ingredient list containing things you wouldn't normally find in a kitchen. Has it got palm oil? Does it make any health claims? These are signs a food is ultra-processed food. It's an American financialized diet. Why are they so bad? A diet high in UPF is the leading cause of death in the UK, overtaking tobacco. They can cause inflammation in the brain, and that can lead to depression and other neurological maladies. It causes diabetes and other health issues, and they are really, really addictive. What should we eat then? According to Dr. Kate, when she looked at the healthiest populations across the globe, they all had similar traits in their diets. They all eat 4 things. They all eat, number 1, meat on the bone. If you make stock from the bones of animals, once you've eaten all the fleshy goodness, and you just get down to the bones, you cook them, make them into stock, you get to ingest some of the collagen from the bones, which is fantastic for your hair and nails and skin. The more you cook the bones, the more the bones break down and the more collagen gets into your stock. People pay to rub collagen all over your skin, but you get to get the full benefits by eating it. The more you have bone stock, the more it helps stimulate the cell's production of collagen. As we get older, our bodies tend to produce less of it, but this kind of counteracts the aging process. Also fantastic for our bones. The second thing that these healthy people eat is fermented and sprouted foods. Yogurt, cheese, sourdough bread. I make a lot of sourdough bread. Did you get into sourdough bread during the pandemic? Let me know over on Instagram. If you haven't tried making sourdough, I had a bit of fun during lockdown a few years ago. I've been making sourdough for over a decade, and I had a bit of fun making a how-to sourdough that people could follow along with during lockdown. You can find that in my highlights on Instagram, so check it out. Let me know how successful you are. It was great fun. Some of my mates, very successful sourdough. Some of my mates had some difficulties, and they got coached through, and they made some fantastic sourdough. Making sourdough at home is so satisfying. It's a wonderful feeling to be able to take flour, water and salt and make it into this fantastic creation that you've created, and you get all the goodness of the long fermentation. It's great stuff. Things like kefir, sauerkraut, fermented wild garlic. You can pretty much ferment anything. Just get a fermenting book and get fermenting. It's actually fascinating to see food go through the fermenting process. The fermented foods contain a lot of probiotics, which can improve digestive health, support the immune system, help manage antibiotic-related side effects, potentially reduce the risk of allergies, assist in urogenital health, and have a growing connection to our mental health. The third thing that all these healthy people all around the globe eat, and you might wince a little bit at this one. First two, you're like, okay, yeah, I can get on board with those. The next one, organ meat, organs. And these are superfoods. Things like liver, kidneys, chicken feet, haggis. I actually like all of those things, apart from possibly the chicken feet. One time when I was in Hong Kong, I didn't know what I was ordering. I ordered this dish and it came back and it had just 2 chicken feet sticking out of this bowl of soup. And the lady that I was with, she was from Hong Kong. She was just like, yeah, it's fine. You just kind of suck it and you kind of like put it in your mouth, kind of nibble little bits of gristle off. I've got to be honest, I wasn't really a fan of chicken feet. I eat a lot of weird stuff, and I'm happy to eat a lot of weird stuff, and I enjoy eating a lot of weird stuff. But chicken feet, was a step too far for me. But things like haggis and kidneys, I love all that stuff. The fourth thing, maybe you can get on board again with this one. Fresh, unadulterated plant and animal foods. I try to eat a lot of berries, seaweed, foraged green stuff, green tea, nuts, peanut butter, the 100% roasted peanuts type. And it is absolutely something to aim for when it comes to our diet. Get as much fresh, vegetable-y stuff and goodness that we can. It kind of makes sense. If you can eat some of it raw, then even better. Heat destroys some of the nutrients in food, so eating raw food which hasn't been cooked means you get the absolute maximum amount of nutrients. That's all very well and good, but how do we make sure we eat what is good for us when we'd rather smash a Ben and Jerry's? Now, this applies to more than just eating healthily. It applies to anything you want to get done in your life, but your body wants to do the opposite. Start by educating yourself. Chris Van Tuliken, who I mainly know from Operation Ouch, what a great program that is, said about his book, Ultra Processed People, that he encourages people to continue to eat their normal processed diet whilst reading the book, so that as you read, you continue to get more and more disgusted by what you're learning about what processed food is and what it's doing to your body. And by the end of the book, you'll be so disgusted that you'll want to give up all the processed food. Despite Chris's hopes, it has been shown time after time that knowledge doesn't always necessarily correlate with the correct behavior. So, as well as getting knowledgeable about what's bad to eat, what's good to eat, we need to take control of our behavior. I'm sure I've said this before in an episode on how to make a change in your life. Go back and check it out for more details. But you'll need to know yourself. You need to know if you're the kind of person who is 100% all in, and when you decide to do something, that's it, you're committed. In which case, just don't buy any more rubbish food. Get rid of it from the house, and you won't have the opportunity to eat it. If you're like me and can't conceive of being tied down to a completely new diet or lifestyle, start with a short experiment. Something small you can commit to for a short period of time and build it in as a habit. I already mentioned that I tried to eat organ meats once a week. It was a habit that took a little while to get going because I wouldn't really think about it. I wouldn't think to do it. But after a few weeks, I found myself craving this nutrient-dense meat. And now, as much as I can, as often as I can, I try and eat organ meats once a week. Create an environment that will help you succeed. If you can't cook, learn to cook. And make time in your life to enjoy the food preparation. I know that my life is feeling pretty balanced in terms of time if I can say, let's make pasta from scratch on Saturday. In fact, making pasta from scratch is a statement I make to myself to say, you are in control of your time. Because who's got time for that? What are you optimizing for? If you're optimizing 100% for health, then you'll only be eating these good foods. Me? I'm optimizing for health and longevity, but not at the detriment of my social occasions. And I do love cake with a bake-off. Who's with me? Now, if you're not a type 1 Enneagram person who's a perfectionist, it's likely that you won't always eat a perfect diet. I aim for 80 to 90% of my diet to be high-quality, nutrient-rich food. So that gives me some leeway when it comes to socializing, going to friends' houses, and for that time, I want a cheeky Big Mac after the gym. It only happened once, Rach, I promise. If you find that you've missed your goal in terms of what to eat, even if it's been a few days or even weeks, don't let that be an excuse. Nothing good comes from saying, "Oh no, I ate a whole 10-pack of donuts. I might as well just give up." You say to yourself, get back to it. Get back to that healthy lifestyle. Your 80-year-old self will thank you. You'll likely find after you've been doing it for a while that your body wants to do it. It doesn't find all those foods that you used to find appealing anymore. That's where your health really starts to compound. If you get to the point where you'd rather not go out for dinner because you can do a better job of cooking at home, you're onto a winner. Things are getting on a little bit, so I'm going to wrap it up here. We'll leave fasting for the spiritual health season, although there are many benefits of fasting for your physical health as well. The human body is an incredible machine. Your body is a sacred temple. Go and look after it so that you can live a long and healthy life and enjoy all the world has to offer. If you're a disillusioned teacher who feels stuck in a job and wants to make a plan to quit the classroom and start living, then check out the link in the description. Or head over to Instagram, say hello. David Morse, Life to the Full podcast. Until next time, peace out.